We are back in the black hole of real estate, and we are coming across some different types of inspection scenarios, and I wanted to go over one today that you may not come across too much. This is your host, Ron Wysakarski, for the black hole of real estate, and the inspection thing that's not super common but coming up a little bit more has to do with the slab and the water erosion of the dirt underneath the slab. So let me give you a scenario, and then maybe you can understand how it might pertain to you, whether you're selling or maybe buying down the road. It's something to look for because it's overlooked in many cases. So if you were to think of a property in, let's say, Florida, because we're here, where there's a lot of rain, if there is not a gutter system on the house, then all that rain just drops straight down, and it's not channeled to an area where there's further drainage or gets it away from the house into a different area of the property. So the water's coming straight down, it's just pooling. So that is going to start to move water as the water moves away, kind of like a stream or a river. Now, if there is any elevation change in the yard, let's say that the water is going downhill around the side of the house. As it picks up speed and goes around the side of the house, that water coming from where there's no gutter is going to start to round the corner underneath the slab. And if you can just think of how little bits of stones and rocks and things start to go through there and just cut away and make the dirt go a little bit lower and a little bit lower until it goes down to slab level. Well, at some point, it may actually start going underneath the slab. Now, I don't think the house is going to collapse or fall into a sinkhole over it, but as more soil erodes from underneath the slab, at some point that could lead to a little stress, maybe cause a crack. A lot of people will put more dirt there. I've seen where they'll put stone there. I've seen where they've actually taken like cement and patched it up a little bit, or try to make like a little ramp or something to get it away from there. But over time, water gets underneath it and erodes that away and then chips away at it. And if you've ever been out back of a house and you've seen where there's a cement patch there, and then it fails, and there's another cement patch, and it fails, and over time, they keep failing and failing. So if you've ever walked behind a house, you've seen what looks like just, a piece of cement or something where somebody just tried to, smush a little of it in there to cover up the spot. This is what I'm talking about. Interestingly enough, if you're seeing this on one side, it could be occurring in other areas or even underneath. And this is where the problem comes in. You could actually have a lot more damage than that little piece of cement patch appears to be. And if there's more soil being moved from underneath the slab, or maybe some of this water is getting through the slab into the woodwork of the house, or this concrete block, maybe it's finding a way through the block and getting into the house and eventually into the drywall. So there's other things in play here that you could get some moisture in the walls undetected, but there could be a potential for, a little bit of moisture, or even something that might promote the growth of, let's say, some mold in there. Now, it's a pretty big leap to go from a little bit of erosion on the side of the house to mold in the house, but I want to paint this picture. This is something that absolutely could happen. If there's a stress crack or a slab crack, that could affect things. And perhaps if this is a house that's not built on a footer, then that could be even more problem, where it could start to get into something that's even more damaging for it. Now, what I don't want to do is be the alarm police and saying, oh my God, every time you see a little bit of dirt moves, the house is going to fall down or collapse or break. That's not what I'm saying. But as you're looking at a home, if you're an agent, I would think you're looking for these things. You're checking up in the ceilings and around the baseboards for any signs of moisture on the inside of the house. But it also makes sense to walk the outside of the house and look up and notice, are there gutters? Is there something where the soffits are not in place or been disturbed? Or maybe there's a sprinkler from the irrigation system that's shooting straight upwards, that's getting in the soffit and introducing water somewhere within the house, or the attic that's just shooting straight up over there. But more to the point of what I'm talking about right now, is there something outside that you're noticing as you do the walk around the home and checking out the HVAC? Is it rusty from hard water? Is there soil that's been moved to different areas or patches there? They don't have to be the end of the world, but it's something to watch for and to make sure that there's a larger issue that goes along with it. Now, I'd also tell you that whenever there's wind-driven rain, whether there's storms, that could also be water getting inside of the house through windows and doorways and things like that. And then we also need to think about wood rot, as wood begins to decay from being exposed to water and the elements. And once it finds, one spot to get in, is it also traveling in more? I'll watch for that. If the home was flooded, or at least underwater, because, you can seal the slab. And if it's a concrete block home, the water could go up a foot or two on the side of the house, but not necessarily go in. It may get in through a sliding door if it's not sealed and secure. But there is this idea that there could be that water is flooded, even temporarily, not going in the home, but still flooded the outside of the home, such that if you open up a door, you get water inside. So another thing to look out for, you will notice if you see a line, like a dark line or a black line, like a chalk line around, what that could mean is that water rose, and then it made a line on the side of the house where the water just kind of sat for a while, and then as the water goes away, what's left is that ring around there. You'll see it in other things, even like a toilet that hasn't been flushed in a while, you'll see a ring in there. It's a lot the same way where some of the chemicals or soil, whatever is in that water, is going to make a line around the house. So watch for that. And if there was a discoloration, maybe that would tell you that they used a bleach or something to get that off. But you'll notice that ring if you're looking for it. I want you to be careful looking for things like that, because it merits further investigation. I know from personal experience, we dug below the slab and we sealed everything underneath it. So if there was water, building up around the house, that it wouldn't flood the house or get underneath the slab. And we're grateful that we paid attention to that and did that, because with the last couple of hurricanes, we could have been in a different situation if we hadn't done that. So there's absolutely some preventative maintenance with regard to this water situation. Now, it could also be if your home was a little bit lower than a neighbor next door, or a lot, or maybe across the street, you're downhill. This happens in a lot of neighborhoods, especially on beachside or in areas where the topography is such that it's one street's a little higher than the next. Water could be running downhill from a number of homes, and as the storm drains begin to fill, or they get covered with leaves and sticks and things, then water can fill the streets. Not because we're flooded out, it's because the water can't drain away, and sometimes you got to clear the storm drains away. So these are things that, on top of, this soil erosion thing, what can you do to prevent it? Well, I mentioned, sealing around, digging below the slab and getting that sealed off. And if it's not what you do, then talk to, your painter could absolutely assist with that. Your storm drains. If you're next to a storm drain, there might be something that you're watching for, and whether you want to keep a rake or something handy in case that we get heavy waters and rainstorms or something that's going to cause water to build up in the street. A lot of times you clear that debris and the water will drain out rather quickly, whether it's a retention pond or sewers, wherever that you live. But just noticing, where is the water coming from? Where will it go to? If you don't have gutters, easiest solution, buy some gutters. If you have a French drain around your pool, you may want to do additional drain tile to get the water away from the house, maybe to a corner of the yard or someplace that leads to, if you have a retention pond behind you, get the water closer to that so it's not pooling in your yard, it's actually moving away to the retention pond or the storm drain where it's intended to go to. These are things that I've noticed. We've had a few inspections lately where you can see the cement patches around the side of the house. To me, it's an immediate flag, and it doesn't mean don't buy the house. It just means do more investigation and find out what the true solution is for that. So you're not out there every year putting mortar down there. You actually have the water going away from the house and not causing the potential for some damage that you simply don't want and shouldn't have. So I hope that you've gotten a little bit of information out of this of what to look for with regard to water erosion or anything like that. And that's what you want to watch out for the next time that you're out home shopping, or if you're selling a house and getting prepared for the market. That's something you can also do to put your buyers at ease and make sure that when the home inspections come around, that you're not having a flag in the report for something that could have been prevented up front. This is Ron Wojciechowski for the Black Hole of Real Estate.